Hi, everyone. We're excited to have you join us for this session. Not only are you attending this session, but there's also a digital audience watching online. During the session, all audiences are allowed to ask questions on the online chat. You can either scan the QR code through the room to join and chat and ask questions or send comments. Both in-room attendees and digital attendees will be sending their questions to the same chat. We are so excited to be blending our in-person and digital audiences together in this way. If you still have questions after the session, the best place to connect with experts is in the hub on level 5. The session will start in a few minutes. Thank you.
All right. All right. Hey, folks. Good morning. I'm so excited to be here. I'm Arun Ulagaratchagan. I run all of Azure data for Microsoft. What an exciting time to be in data. What an exciting time to be in AI. You know, there's just so much innovation going on. You saw Satya talk about Fabric. You saw Satya talk about real-time intelligence. You saw Satya talk about a lot of the innovation that we're bringing to the table. This is the session in which we're going to go much, much deeper. So let's get started. We all recognize that AI is rapidly changing the world. No surprise to anybody here in this audience. However, the AI revolution is really based on data, right? The best AI models, if the data is not in the right shape, you put garbage in, you get garbage out. So we all recognize that it's data that's the fuel that powers AI. So it's become incredibly important for every customer, every organization, every developer to get their data estate ready so that it can actually leverage the power of AI. Unfortunately, it's a lot harder than it needs to be because of this, right? There's been so much innovation in the modern data and AI stack. It's also caused a ton of fragmentation because every tiny icon on the slide is a product or technology in the data and AI space. Many of you have probably seen this slide before. It's the 2024 data and AI stack. It's produced by a VC firm in the Valley. They religiously produce one every year. And this is really the complexity that is facing you today as you think about the transition to the era of AI. Because the burden is on you to figure out which products to use, which ones work together, and make them all constructed so that they actually can deliver business value. That's why when we talk to customers, the message we hear consistently is this: please unify. I want to be the chief information officer, not the chief integration officer. Help me unleash AI on my data estate. And this is exactly what we're doing with Microsoft Fabric. With Fabric, we're going from isolated components to a unified stack, from a single database or a data warehouse to all of your data, from Gen AI needing to be manually wired in to Gen AI simply being built into your stack. So with Fabric, you get that end-to-end data and analytics platform, giving you all of the capabilities you need to go from raw data to AI or BI value in the hands of your business users, right? And you find that in Fabric, you have core workloads. Each workload is purpose-built for a particular type of developer, a data engineer, a data scientist, a data warehousing professional, a BI professional, so that you can actually go from raw data to AI or BI value. And across all of these workloads, you'll find that AI is simply built into Fabric. That means Copilot accelerates your entire development journey. That means you can get great Gen AI experiences on top of your data. And governance, which is critically important, is just built in and powered by our governance product called Purview. Okay. This vision is really resonating with customers. That's why today we have over 11,000 organizations that are already actively using Fabric, and it's just only been 6 months since Fabric became generally available. And many of these are really some amazing companies. You'll hear from McLaren later in the presentation, where they're taking data from the cars as they're racing around the track to be able to get insights. Horizon, a huge freight operator in Australia, they were able to get a 240 times performance improvement when they moved to Fabric. One New Zealand, the largest telco in New Zealand, was able to get a solution built and into production in just 3 weeks. Okay. Now, as excited as I am about 11,000 organizations using Fabric, it's just a drop in the bucket compared to the massive usage of Power BI that we already have today. We have over 350,000 organizations that use Power BI, including 97% of the Fortune 500, and we have over 6.5 million monthly active developers building on Power BI. And what you're seeing here is the actual usage growth of Power BI since we launched the product, and you'll find that it's growing exponentially. And the launch of Fabric has really accelerated the growth of Power BI even further. And for every Power BI customer, every Power BI developer, Fabric is just one click away, right? And all developers can get a free trial for Fabric. You get a 60-day free trial, and we're not, we're giving you $17,000 of capacity, right? That's an F64 SKU. You get that for 2 months. That's $8,500 a month times twice. And we're giving you this much capacity so that you can build real solutions on top of Fabric. You can see what Fabric can go do for you. And you don't need to bring a credit card. You don't need to have an Azure subscription. This is literally less than 20 seconds to go get. So if you haven't tried out Fabric already, I'd highly recommend you go check it out. That's why we have a massive community of developers that are already building on top of Fabric. We have over 2.6 million developers in the Fabric community, 400 plus user groups. No matter where you are, there's probably a user group around the corner. We also have a huge ecosystem of partners that are working closely with us. So if you need help building your Fabric solution, you can check any of these partners out. They have tens of thousands of consultants that have been trained on Fabric, certified on Fabric, so they can help you build your solutions and get them into production. Now, one of the things that our developers love is really the pace of innovation that we're delivering with Fabric. Every single week, there's a new release of Fabric with new features that we ship. Okay? Every month, we take all of those capabilities and we roll them up in a monthly Fabric blog. And these monthly Fabric blogs are 60 to 80 pages long, just giving you a sense of the level of investment that Microsoft is pouring into Fabric. And if you want to get a sense of where we're going with Fabric, just go to this URL, aka.ms.fabric-roadmap, and you'll see our roadmap for the next 6, 9, 12 months on all the features that we're working on that will ship that you can get excited about. With Fabric, we're trying to deliver on 4 key promises. The first is giving you that complete analytics and data platform so that you get all of the capabilities to go from raw data to value in the hands of your business users. Everything is unified, everything is delivered as software as a service, and everything is secure and governed. The second promise really is a lake-centric and open architecture. And here, we introduced something called OneLake, right? OneLake is really the beating heart of Fabric. You can think about OneLake as a SaaS data lake for the entire organization. It's basically OneDrive, but for your data, okay? And it's also an open architecture, because when we announced Fabric last year, we announced that Microsoft is moving away from proprietary data formats into open source data formats at the heart of Fabric. The third promise is really about empowering every single business user, because what's the point of data sitting beautifully in your lake if nobody's using it? That's why Power BI itself is built into Fabric so that your business users get value to all of your data. But all of Fabric data is also built into Excel. It's built into Teams. It's built into PowerPoint. It's built into SharePoint with all of the security permissions intact so your business users can get immediate value from your data. And finally, AI capabilities are just built into every aspect of Fabric. And you'll really see that it accelerates your data journey, but also helps you get great Gen AI experiences on top of your data. So these are the 4 promises. We have tons and tons of exciting demos. To do that, I'm going to invite Amir Netz, technical fellow and CTO. Amir, come on over.
Thank you, Arun. Thank you. That's me. And OK, so Arun talked about the 4 promises of Fabric, and we are going to use these 4 promises as scaffolding for our presentation, going pillar by pillar by pillar. We're going to start with the complete analytics platform and with this diagram here. It's one product. One product does everything for you end to end, from ingesting the data to data lake, all the way to delivering the insights to the business user, all on the common foundation of AI, all on common foundation of peer review for governance, and with this magical lake called OneLake. And it's very, very different than any other data platform you have in the market, in the world. It's a SaaS data platform, software as a service. It just works. It starts with this onboarding experience. We call it the 5x5. 5 seconds to sign up, 5 minutes to wow. It is really no need to credit card, no Azure account, just go in, onboard. Anything you want is just instantly provisioning. Creating a new data warehouse in Fabric takes as long as it takes in creating a new PowerPoint in Office 365. The UI looks like Office. I'm going to use a lot of Office analogies in this presentation. Everything is auto-integrated. Everything is auto-optimized. They almost have no knobs to play with. Just like you don't need knobs to optimize your Word or Excel, you don't need knobs to optimize Fabric. It's just doing it all by itself. And just like Office 365, you have this central administration at the tenant level. There's one Fabric for the entire organization, and you just configure centrally the security, governance, compliance policy once. It's working for all your users, for all your teams, for every piece of data, for every project across the globe. It's one system that does it all. And it's so, so easy. That's the thing that people start using Fabric. They can see results in hours, what used to take weeks to get. And sometimes this kind of feel that it's so easy is misleading. You think, really, is this kind of a platform that is just good for small, easy projects? The answer is no. When we see what people really build with Fabric, we see massive, massive project, a mega project in the enterprise with hundreds of items in the workspace, all working together, whole teams of people of different personas, whether you're a data scientist or data engineer or BI professional or data warehouse administrator, you all work together in the workspace building a single project. And the question is, how do you really manage these giant projects? And we have built into Fabric a lot of facilities to make sure that these projects will be successful and can be managed and deployed on a professional level. So it starts with just built-in CI/CD. CI/CD is built into the Fabric workspace. You instantly connect to a Git repository. We handle everything for you, the source management, the versioning, the branching, all of that is built into Fabric. When you want to deploy into production, we provide built-in deployment pipelines. So you can move from dev to test to production very easily with a beautiful user experience. And lastly, what we're really proud of, we just announced in the last week, it's the task flows. And what the task flows gives you is a proper architectural scaffolding for your project, where your project architect just select what is the block diagram that really represents the logical structure of that project. And then that block diagram is really accompanying you throughout the creation experience. Everything fits in place. Everything is so easy to create because there's guidance. It's not just a pile, a giant list of items that you create in the workspace, but everything makes sense together. And to show us how everything is working together, how you build this mega enterprise project in Fabric, I'm going to invite Patrick to join me on stage. Yo. Hey, Patrick. Yo!
Yo!
Okay.
You did the yo!
Now, what are you going to show us, Patrick?
I'm going to show you a complete end-to-end solution, Amir. I'm tasked with creating this new project. And so what I'm going to show you is I'm going to create this new workspace. But I've never created a medallion architecture before. So I got a whiteboard. No, I'm not using a whiteboard because somebody's going to erase what I'm doing on my whiteboard. And so I'm going to use my new workspace, and I'm going to create this beautiful task flow.
Okay, let's see.
Let's see. And so you'll see right here, I'm going to create this workspace. And then the very first thing you're going to see is going to say, hey, create a task flow. And it gives me a beautiful layout of what this medallion architecture should look like. It removes the guesswork, Amir. So when I click it, I choose select, it's going to give me this architecture. It's going to say you need to ingest data, you need to consume data, you need to prep data. I don't know what I need to do. So now I'm going to choose an item, and it's going to tell me, Patrick, create a notebook. And just like that, without knowing anything about medallion architectures, I have my notebook created. But now I'm going to switch to a workspace that's a little more involved. And I have all these items. We're already using task flows, and you can see we've tagged it up. You can see my beautiful task flow here. And one of the things that I can do is I can switch between task flows. So if I don't like the medallion architecture, I can use a Lambda architecture. But one of my favorite features of task flows is how it minimizes the items in that list. And so if I'm a data engineer, I can focus on notebooks and pipelines. If I'm doing some prep of data, if I decide I want to build some Power BI reports.
It's like cross-highlighting in Power BI reports.
Like interactivity. It's like yes. The interactivity and the visuals on the page, right? If I want to customize it, I can do a little clicky, draggy, droppy, bringing out my inner Christian Wade, and I can link them up just like that. It's so exciting, right? This is bananas, Amir.
Okay.
Right? This is bananas.
How do you do source control management?
So guess what? It's built in the Fabric. Look at that. I got a little source control button that makes everything work. It's all magic for me. So now I'm this report developer because I do Power BI. That's what I was born to do, Power BI. And so I want to branch out. I'm going to create my own feature branch. I'm going to create my own workspace. I don't have to do anything. I just use a form, and look at that.
And this workspace is going to be an isolated runtime environment so you can work safely without interrupting anybody else's work with you.
Absolutely. I can break everything I want. I can break everything in this project. Nobody would know. And so I'm going to go change this report, create my beautiful visual, and I need to get this committed back to DevOps. I don't do much in DevOps because CI/CD is completely built in the Fabric. I click a button, it shows me the things that's changed. I click another button, and guess what? I commit it back to DevOps with very little work on my part. Right? It's a magic. Now in DevOps, not only did that new branching experience create a new workspace for me, but it also created a new branch. So I don't have to do any of those things. And then directly inside of DevOps, because we've went on this journey to get rid of that binary format, I can actually do a quick compare of
diff.
Yes, a diff right there. And now After a pull request and a commit, Fabric detects that change, I commit that change, and then you may be thinking, well, Patrick, we have a full development lifecycle. How do I get this from dev to test to prod? Deployment pipelines are built in. It'll show me the disparities between my two environments, and then I can quickly click deploy, and everything syncs up. If I don't want to use a GUI, because we know how developers are about their GUIs, if you want to write some code, you just use the list of APIs that we have built in the Fabric, and it all syncs up. That's insane amazing. Amir.
Yes, it is amazing. Thank you so much, Patrick.
Thank you.
Woo. So you can see how you can build this mega project into Fabric, and you have really all the core capability you need for data analytics. But you may need some more capabilities maybe that we at Microsoft did not think about. And this is where we thought we need to allow you guys to extend our capabilities, and we're introducing what we call the partner workloads. And the partner workloads allows our partners, developers, just like you, many others, to go and build their own Fabric workloads directly into Fabric. So not just our 6 blocks, but many, many, many more blocks that shows up in the workload here of Fabric. And you want to get experiences and workloads coming from Esri if you want to do GIS, and coming from NVIDIA if you want to do generative AI inference, for FISI for master data management, LSEC for financial data, like so many. We have a workload for anything that you can imagine with the help of our partners. And to understand how this looks like, let's run this kind of sizzle video to see workload how we do the workloads in Fabric. So what do you see there? Right? We have all our partners there. They're coming together. They're all building their workloads, and they're running inside Fabric. They're running inside Fabric in the same kind of experience. You can see that it just looks like any other workload that Microsoft created. Now our partners can create the same. We can see that they're working in the workspace. They are part of the security model Fabric. They're working against OneLake. They store the data in OneLake. They read the data in OneLake. They're all bringing the best work, and it just feels like one big happy family inside Fabric, and you can compose across all these workloads. And they do it all with a workload development kit that we announced public preview today in the Build conference. And that workload development kit is for you guys, for you to go in and bring your best work into Fabric. And it's just built there. We give you the SDK, the documentation, a testing environment. You can build it, you can try it out, and when you're finished, you can publish it to our workload hub. This is where our customers will discover you. You can acquire new customers, you can generate new business, and you want to make your customers so, so happy. So the workload development kit is public preview today. Go party with it. So that's the first pillar. One complete data analytics platform. Let's move to the second pillar, where we are talking about this lake, this magic lake, the one drive for data, OneLake. It's just there. It just comes with Fabric. You don't have to buy one. You never have to buy another storage account in your life. It's just there. It's global in its scope. It is infinite in its scale. You can store all your data there. In fact, all the workloads that we have, all the partner workloads will store all the data into OneLake. All the data is always organized naturally, automatically for you. All the data is in open formats, whether it's unstructured data in open formats or structured data tables in the Delta format. It's always there. And it's a place for you to bring your entire data set together. So how you bring all your data to OneLake? Well, you have all sorts of ways to do that. First of all, we give you the data factory. And Data Factory gives you over 170 connectors to virtually every database and every system in the world. And you can just go and easily connect in just the data and store it in OneLake. Again, once you store it in OneLake, it's always in open format. It's always the rest of the Fabric workloads and the partner workloads lights up on top of that. But you may say, hey, Amir, we have all the data already stored somewhere. We don't want to start copying all the data into OneLake. Well, say, as long as you have it stored somewhere in an open format, well, we have a really, really good idea. We're going to allow you, instead of copying all the data to OneLake, we'll allow you to point to the data that you already have stored somewhere, and OneLake will come to your data. We call those pointers shortcuts, kind of like the shortcuts you find in your desktop, your icon with the small arrows on them. And then they're just part of OneLake. There's no data movement, there's no data duplication, and it's an amazing way to just bring all the data already stored anywhere. Could be in Azure Storage, could be in AWS S3, could be in Google Storage, could be all your Dataverses that you have out there. They're instantly in the shortcut, no ETL, no data movement. It's instantly available, always up to date. And what we're really, really excited is today we can announce that OneLake is not just a multi-cloud data lake, but it's also getting all the way to on-premises. So now you can shortcut to your existing storage systems on-premises, and now your on-premises data is part of the single OneLake that we have in the cloud. How about that? So that's available today in public preview. So now it's really working awesome as long as your data is in some kind of an open format, and sometimes the data is not in open format. And databases are the most notorious at keeping their data in all sorts of proprietary formats. And we still want it to be so easy. You can bring all your data into OneLake. So we introduced another mechanism, which is the mirroring. And the way mirroring works is it's working through a seamless replication process where we connect. You just point to the database you want us to show up in OneLake. We connect to the data, instantly create a replica in OneLake, and then maintain the replica in real time by connecting to the change data capture feed of the database, so it's always up to date. So it's so easy. Just point, click, and it's there in OneLake. But that's not really where the real magic is. The real magic is that it's free. It's on the house. That replica that you have in OneLake, you don't pay for it. It's on us. We just want to make sure that there's just zero reason why anybody will not bring all their data to this one lake. And you can unify your entire data estate in one place. So to see how we unify the data estate, I'm going to ask Pat to join me on stage and talk about that, mirroring and shortcuts.
Thank you, Amir. All right, we're going to take a look at how we can use shortcuts and mirroring to bring data together from a ton of different sources. So let's take a look. So here we're looking at Contoso Outdoors, and they have data everywhere, like a lot of companies. They've got data in Snowflake for their customer loyalty program. Azure Databricks has the sales data. In Dynamics 365, they have their customer support data. Cosmos DB has their retail order tracking. And in Amazon, they have their product catalog and product inventory. And we're going to bring all this data together with zero ETL and no unnecessary copying of data. And we're going to start by creating a new lakehouse. Now, this is where I want to bring all the data together, and we're going to start with our shortcuts. So I just click to start creating shortcuts, and I can see all the different sources we support, everything from Dataverse to GCP to ADLS Gen 2 to Amazon, both on-premise, S3 compatible buckets, and in the cloud. All I have to do is select the bucket. In this case, we're doing Amazon. Select the data I want to bring in. And just like that, I have a shortcut connected. Instantly, and there's no copying of data. If I fast forward a little bit, you can see I can set shortcuts up to a bunch of different types of data. Here I have Dataverse, Amazon S3, and others, all brought into one location. And it can be more than just tabular data. If you remember Seth's demo from Satya's keynote, he was actually using OneLake for the images and documentation files he was using with Copilot. So he can also unify this other types of data and then plumb it all the way through to your other systems. Now let's do the mirroring. So I have some data for retail transactions in Cosmos DB. And again, super simple to set up. I'm going to mirror this database in. I select the database I want. I select the specific data I want, click connect, and automatically Fabric is going to start bringing in that data. 0 ETL, but it's monitoring the change data capture feed, so any changes to that database are automatically reflected into Fabric. And just like that, this demo took an afternoon to set up. I have data from 5 different clouds, all unified in Fabric, and now I can start using the data across all my different Fabric workloads. So for instance, I'll switch over to the SQL endpoint, and now I can write SQL queries to join all of this data. So here I've got a query that's going to do a multi-cloud query, join that data across 5 different clouds, all right here in one place with no unnecessary data movement. It's that easy.
So you can also do Power BI reports?
Exactly. So here I'm in the lineage view. I can see all of these different sources coming together. I can do Power BI. I can also do things like data science notebooks. I could do AI models. And of course, Power BI. Now inside of Power BI, we're using direct lake mode. That means Power BI is connecting directly to this lake. So all of those queries are lightning fast performance, but the data is always up to date as it changes in those underlying systems. So I can share this with my org. Everybody's using the most up-to-date data. But I can also have security and compliance built in. So if I have, say, sensitivity labels or security, it's going to flow all the way through to all these downstream sources. So I have one point of compliance for managing my data. And I have the Purview Hub built into Fabric, so I can get a full view of my data estate. So I can see all the different artifacts. I can see their sensitivity labels, where they're located. So I can keep everything well-governed all in one location.
So bird's eye view across all your clouds, on-premises, every piece of data.
OneLake is the place to bring all your data.
That's amazing. Thank you so much, Pat. And as we brought all these tables into OneLake, we've all brought them into as an open format. We brought them using the Delta format. And we did that very intentionally because we have a great partner in Azure Databricks, and Azure Databricks stores all this data in Delta format. So we can very easily now exchange data between Fabric and Azure Databricks. It's just same format. You can shortcut between the two. There's no need to do any replication or any mirroring. It's just super, super easy. So Delta format is an open format, but it's not the only open format because there are quite a lot of other successful open formats, especially one very important one, which is the Iceberg format. And today we are announcing that we are adding Iceberg support to OneLake. So you can store the data, yes. You can store the data in Delta, you can store the data in Iceberg, it doesn't matter. OneLake makes it all look the same. So if you store the data in Delta, you can read it in Iceberg. You store the data in Iceberg, you can read it in Delta. You choose how you like to read the data. It will work either way. OneLake has concurrent simultaneous support for both Iceberg and Delta on every piece of data, which is great because now we can go and have that OneLake, which is now completely open, completely integrated with a lot of other data clouds out there. So you have the Iceberg support in OneLake, now allowing you bidirectional support across many different data cloud lakes. And everything that you have in Fabric is now going to be accessible by the M365 application, by the copilots, everything that you have. So that allows us to have also an interesting partnership. We have just announced a couple of weeks ago a partnership with Salesforce. So now we can connect to the Salesforce data cloud and read all the data, and they can connect to Fabric and read all the data, and you never have to copy the data around. One copy of data is working across both Fabric and the data cloud of Salesforce. And today, we're super excited to announce that we have one additional expanded partnership, and this is with Snowflake. So Snowflake is even better. Not only that they can read the OneLake data because we support Iceberg, and we can read their data because we support Iceberg, but they are also going to store their data natively inside OneLake. So that's pretty exciting. Let's take a look. Pat.
All right.
So.
Yeah, Amir, so let's take a look at how this Snowflake and Fabric can work together to allow you to keep one copy of the data but work in both systems. So let's go ahead and take a look. All right, here we have an organization that uses both Snowflake and Fabric, and they want to create a new data warehousing project in Snowflake for their customer loyalty program. But they have a lot of data inside of Fabric that they need to unify inside of this data warehouse so they can do all the analytics and reporting and other processes they want on top of the data warehouse. They have customer support, sales, reviews that are all going to be able to do analysis in this loyalty program database. So let's start out in Snowflake and get started with the new project. So I'm going to create a new database.
In Snowflake. This is
in Snowflake. I'm in Snowflake. And for my loyalty program, and you see this option for using Iceberg tables. So I'm going to have the data stored in Iceberg format, and I can pick Fabric as an external storage provider. So with this, Snowflake is going to store all of this data in Iceberg format in OneLake. So I'm going to start adding some data here. So let's add, say, just to get started, our members data. And we can see, indeed, the data is going to be stored in Fabric in OneLake. And let's go ahead and pick some data to upload. I'm going to pick the column mappings. And just like that, I have my data loaded into Snowflake, and I can see it here. So I have all the data. But now something really cool happens. I switch over to Fabric, and you see that we've automatically created a Snowflake data item inside of Fabric.
So I see the Snowflake logo inside.
Yeah, and it's
Fabric.
just like every other Fabric item. So the tagging, the sensitivity labels, all that stuff in the platform works through. And immediately I can see that data that was written by Snowflake into OneLake inside of this item. And I can go even further. I can create shortcuts into this item for other Fabric data. So some of that data that we just saw in that earlier demo, I can shortcut it in. So that data can be coming from everywhere, but now it's getting expressed in Iceberg format. And that means if I take this data from OneLake and now I switch back into Snowflake, I'm back in Snowflake here, I see all that data appearing here now.
I can create a shortcut to on-premises data in Fabric, and it will show up in the Snowflake database.
Exactly, and it's just all transparent to you. But now I can start, say, joining the data together, writing queries using Snowflake. It's a great product. Can bring all this data together and work with it there. But I can also work with it in Fabric, right? So if I wanted to, say, create a data science notebook, I could do that. I could even, since the data's in OneLake, Copilot's going to work on top of it to help me write code for my Python, find outliers. I can put Power BI on top of it to build interactive reports and share, but it's all still the same one copy of the data. I can even get it in Excel because the OneLake Data Hub appears in Excel. So flowing all the way through, unified in one place, so I'm not creating copies. My teams can now collaborate across these different tools. Super excited about this integration.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, Pat. So we talked about Salesforce, we talked about Snowflake, another big partnership we're going to announce today is the partnership with Adobe, another major name. Adobe not only going to store the data in OneLake, they're going to store it through the data warehouse. So the Adobe Experience Platform is now going to support the data warehouse of Fabric. They're going to federate the queries, and of course, all the data will show up in OneLake in the standard format. So you have all the data coming from everywhere, from the mirroring, from the shortcut, from Snowflake, from Salesforce, from Adobe, and you want to access it. You want to access it through your own application. You guys are developers, right? So we want to make sure that you get a uniform API. That doesn't really matter how the data is stored, whether it's the event house, or it's the Power BI, or it's the Lake house, or the data warehouse. Wherever it's stored, you get a single common API, and this is where we are incredibly excited to announce today the public preview of the API support for GraphQL inside Fabric. So that's a big deal. Yes, thank you. And what's GraphQL give you? GraphQL is an open source API, incredibly popular, that gives you a very web-friendly developer experience where you can submit the queries in a neutral form that is not dependent on a specific database. So you never have to install any drivers on the client, and you get the results again in a web-friendly JSON format. So let's take a look at how GraphQL can be built inside Fabric, and again, it's all SaaS, software as a service. So if you ever tried to build GraphQL before, you know how hard it is, but not with Fabric. Let's take a look. So what we do is we're going to go and create a new GraphQL API. All you have to do is, just like everything else in Fabric, I just have to give it a name, and I'm pretty much done. I have the API item available in my workspace, and then I say I want to create an API. I just need to select which data source I want to create the API. I want to select this data warehouse, and I need to select which tables I want to provide the API for. I want to select it all just to save time, and that's it. I'm done. That's it. We can just start sending GraphQL queries, and GraphQL queries are expressed in JSON structure. So I say I want to create a query. I want to bring the information about customers, just the first 10, and then I'm going to say which fields I want to bring in. Very, very easy. That's how you express the queries in GraphQL. And then you just run, and you can see how the results are being returned. And now, it's just a JSON structure. Super, super, super easy. If you're a web developer, you know how easy it is. If I want to add queries that goes to multiple data sources, I just add it to my JSON structure there. Now I'm going to inventory information as well, run it, and instantly get it. Very, very simple. This is the easiest way to create web-fronting APIs to data. All I have to now do is copy the endpoint, the HTTP endpoint, go to VS Code, paste the NTP endpoint into VS Code, write my query in JSON, and then I can build a React app or Angular app, and it just looks like this. Super, very, very performant, very flexible, and never have to install any drivers. So just an amazing, amazing experience on top of the data that we already have in OneLake, your entire data estate. Okay, so this is going to public preview. Let's move to the third pillar. So this is about the business user. And typically, we have all the data in Fabric, all the data in OneLake. We work so hard to accumulate it. Now we need to get value out of it. Typically, this is where Power BI comes in. Power BI is an amazing platform. It's tens of millions of users around the world. It's perfect for connecting the business user that work in the Office application, whether it's Teams, it's Excel, it's PowerPoint, it's SharePoint, and to the world of data in Fabric. Power BI is part of Fabric. But I don't want to focus on the reporting part of Fabric today, because reporting is really about the users coming at their leisure, looking at reports. Sometimes the world is moving so fast. We need to move fast with it. We need real-time data, and real-time data needs real-time intelligence. And we are really, really excited to announce today the real-time intelligence in Fabric, where we took Synapse Analytics. We took the data activator, and then we added to that a brand new component, amazing component, the real-time hub. The real-time hub is for streaming data, was what OneLake is for data at rest. It is a way to bring all your streaming data from everywhere it is, from all the clouds, from on-premises to one place, work with it in a uniform way, to go and process, to analyze, to monitor, to act on it, all powered by AI, and to see what is it that real-time intelligence. I'm going to ask my friend Tessa to join me on stage. Hey, Tessa. So what are we going to see?
We're going to see real-time intelligence in action. So let's get started. We're going to start in Fabric, and we're going to go right to the real-time hub. So the same way the OneLake data hub is for your data at rest, the real-time hub is for your data in motion. And you can see here, it's the central place for all of the data streams across my organization. But if I don't find the stream that I'm looking for, I can use the wide range of connectors to Microsoft services and cross-cloud as well to bring it in. So whether my data is streaming from Amazon Kinesis, Google PubSub, Confluent Kafka, Azure Event Hubs, it's very easy to bring it into the real-time
Across all the clouds.
Across all the clouds. We even have connectors to change data capture feeds as well, if you want to bring that in. So I'm actually going to use a connector to Azure SQL Database CDC feed, and this represents all the changes to my customer stores. And in just a few clicks, I'm going to bring this into the real-time hub for others to use in my organization. Now, I want to track deliveries to these stores, and so I'm going to open the delivery route stream and see more information about where it's being used in the rest of Fabric, and I can even profile and preview the data events as well. Now, I want to monitor deliveries that are outside the average range, and so I'm going to set an alert for when the trip distance is greater than 160. And if that's detected, I want to be notified on Teams. You can see I can take other actions, whether it's sending an email, run a Fabric item, like executing a notebook, and with integrations with Power Automate, I can also kick off workflows and external systems as well.
It's so easy to now act on changes on data. It's just sassified completely.
So easy, and just like that, I just save the item, and I'm ready to go. Now, I can also even open the event stream so that I can see the data as it's streaming through and being routed to multiple destinations. And remember, even though this is a simple experience, it's powered by proven Azure technologies that can handle exabytes of data and billions of queries.
So the same teams that built Event Hub, Event Grid.
All the same capabilities in here as well. And you'll also see that I had a destination of Event House, which is the curated time series database, super powerful, and the experience helps me understand my data just in seconds. I can even use Copilot to help me understand the average trip distance by drop-off location, and just like that, it generates the right KQL query for me, and I can see my results. Now, from this view, I can even pin it to a real-time dashboard and save it and share it with the rest of my organization. And if those users don't want to write queries, they can use the new visual exploration experience to get even more value and insights out of their data without writing a single line of code. That's really exciting.
That's also cool.
So there's so many capabilities that I ran through, and there's even more as part of the announcements today. So prior to real-time capabilities in Fabric, it was very complex. You needed to be a very advanced engineer in order to take advantage of your real-time data. But now, with real-time intelligence and the real-time hub, you're able to get end-to-end experiences for any users, from ingestion, analysis, and acting on your data very easily.
Thank you so much, Tessa. And we are, just like everything else in Fabric, we are simplifying, we are SaaSifying, we are bringing it all together to unified data estate, and you're going to see the difference, okay? And I actually want to bring here a friend on stage from a company that knows the value of real time, knows the value of every fraction of a second. So I want to bring Flavien from McLaren, one of my favorite brands on earth.
Hey, super happy to be here.
So Flavien, what do you do with McLaren?
So I do data mining engineer because data mining because in the end I have to leave driving to Lando because he's much faster than me. So,
That's not you. That's not you.
yeah, he's really good. So yeah, at McLaren we try to really push all the boundaries, and while doing so we generate tons of data, really quite a lot.
Well, what do you mean a lot of data?
A lot is around 10 trillion data points, I would say, per model we
10
use.
trillion with a T.
Yeah, and that's only for the telemetry data from the prototype cars. So it's around 30 cars that usually will drive during a program. These cars will produce around 7,000 signals. All these signals are recorded at around 100 hertz, something like this. So that's a lot of data, and we need to find it. As you said, we need to empower all the business users to find it and to use it. So for example, we might want an engine engineer to know why a car is misfiring at a given point. But we also want our director to be able to see on a dashboard how much the cars, for example, consume in terms of fuel, and see if we are on target or not.
Okay, so 10, just hard to understand, 10 trillion data points. So how long did it take you before you started really using the real-time intelligence, and now how long it takes you?
So before, it was really slow, and as a company, we really hate slow. I mean, look at these cars. We really hate it. So yeah, before we would have to troll through every single file, iterate through Python to find out the results. Now that we have all the data on Fabric, we can run queries that would have taken around 2 days in around 40 seconds. Quite recently, I had a colleague asking me for the whole lifetime of an engine, understanding at what torque, at what speed the engine had run. I could run the query in 40 seconds. It's just amazing.
So from 2 days wait time to 40 seconds wait time, all with the power of the real-time intelligence. Incredible.
Yeah.
And by the way, the same technology that you're running, Microsoft is running all of its cloud services in Azure, all the telemetry, not just from your cars, but from our own services going to the same event house database that you're running on top of it. That's incredible. So what's next for you guys?
What's next? So we want to take in more data sources, and you've showed quite a lot of how to do it today. So we want to stream data through Kafka, for example, from our cars. So we could be able to, for example, stream right from the test track, from the racetrack, and have data activators running on all this data ingested, so that we can tell, for example, to the driver, hey, you will run out of fuel, you need to come back. Things like this, and things much more complex as well.
That's amazing. So I'm going to root for you guys in the next Formula One
Thank you.
season.
Yes. See us in Monaco.
Thank you. Okay, we're at the last pillar, and this is the pillar of AI. And AI is front and center in Fabric in every possible way, every dimension that you can imagine. We built Fabric. It's a brand new platform. We built it when we saw what's going to happen with AI, and AI is there. AI is there in so many ways. So it starts with having the Copilot experiences in Fabric. So whatever you do, whether you are ingesting data with a data factory, you need pipelines or data flows, you have a Copilot to help you with that. You build a data warehouse, you have a Copilot for that to design the tables and write your SQL. You want to write some Python in the notebook for data engineering and data science? Well, there is a Copilot experience for that as well. And if you want to build reports, or there is a Copilot that helps you build the reports. And what we are really excited is this conference in Build, we're announcing the general availability of Copilot in Fabric. So yes, thank you so much for all of you that helped us through the process. But it's not just Copilots for you, it's Copilot for your users. And this is where we come to the AI-driven insights. So what we have here is you publish reports to your users, and they want to get more information. So we have built Copilot experience for the reports in consumption mode. So every business user, not the authors, not the creator, not you guys, the people who actually consume the report, they can now start chat with their data. And they can ask questions about what's happening in the reports, what's happening with data that is not shown in the report, but it's the basis for the report. You can ask smart questions to compare things, to understand where the growth is coming from. Also, the very, very intelligent questions, all powered by generative AI, all running for every business user that is using the report. So just out of the box, Copilot experience for your users. But the thing I want to really focus here, because you guys are developers, is not how we build our Copilots to help you, but how you can build your own generative AI application. And this is where we are going to go and show you today what we announced, the public preview of the AI skills in Fabric. And I want to have 𝗦𝗲𝗀 join me on stage. 𝗦𝗲𝗀, AI skills, what are AI skills?
Thank you, Amir. Yeah, let's talk about AI skills. Because imagine that you can all, whether you're a domain expert, an analyst, a data engineer, build your own custom generative AI experiences on top of data in Fabric. That's what the AI skill allows you to do. So let's take a look at AI skills in action. So here, we're in a Fabric workspace, right? And everything in Fabric is so easy. So we're just going to go ahead and we're going to create a new type of item called an AI skill, right? And we're going to give it a name. And in this case, this is going to operate on the same data. We want to create an expert on top of our Contoso Outdoors loyalty member data, right? So we're going to give this a name, and we're going to go ahead and create it. And the first thing we're going to do is to add data. So we're going to ground the AI in data. So we're going to just go ahead and add a lake house, a warehouse. In this case, we're going to select the lake house. And once we do that, we can then select the tables that we want to ground the AI on as well. And that's really all the setup that you need. You don't need any other configuration. I can just start asking questions.
Completely satisfied. Completely satisfied.
Absolutely. Let's ask the first question here. How many calls have we had from loyalty members? And break it down by the source. And we can immediately get that answer. So what's happening here is that we're using the built-in AI platform inside of Fabric, powered by Azure AI, Azure OpenAI. And we're calling that, we're sending natural language. We have a lot of engineering work to give you the best SQL possible, generating you a query, and then you can just essentially get your results back like this, right? So let's run a different question, Amir. Let's ask for the most recent loyalty member that made a support call. And the answer is Angelina Schlitz, right?
But we want to see more information about Angelina Schlitz.
Great point. So the good thing about this is that as a creator, you're going to have many ways to configure this experience. So one of the ways is to leave some notes for the model. So here we're going to tell the AI that, hey, I want some additional information. I want some more columns. And then when we re-ask the question, we can now see those additional columns added.
So it's like prompt engineering.
Prompt engineering, yes, in the SaaSified form. Now let's ask another question. Let's ask to list all the different let's ask to see all the different cases and break it down from Angelina on the sources that they came from. And here you can see the results. Let's also ask the AI to give us a list of the different cases that we got, essentially the top 10 customers that have given us support calls. And in this case, we're getting a ranked list, but it's not a rank. The AI doesn't know how to rank it. So again, we can add the notes to the model, tell it how to rank it using the spending for lifetime. And once we add that information, it can rank it. And once we're done, we can go ahead and we can publish this. We can make this available for applications. So imagine that you're building RAG applications out there, AI solutions. You can just embed and compose using these AI skills on top of that. But not only that, stay tuned for more ways to use AI skills on top of your data, right, in Fabric. So for example, with Copilot Studio, you'll soon be able to select one of your AI skills and build a custom Copilot in Microsoft Copilot Studio to be able to answer and be an expert on top of your data in Fabric. And beyond that, you will also be able to extend Microsoft Copilot itself, the M365 Copilot, with AI skills that you build in Fabric.
That's fantastic. Thank you so much, 𝗦𝗲𝗀. And this is really taking us to the end of our journey. You've seen the end-to-end platform of Fabric. And I want to have Arun come on stage and close. Yeah,
awesome. All right, wow. So much excitement, so much innovation. As you can see, Fabric is massive for Microsoft. We have one other exciting thing to announce. Just a couple of months ago, we had the very first Fabric conference in Las Vegas, FabCon Vegas. We had over 4,200 people there. And one of the requests that we got is, can we please bring this to Europe? So the answer is absolutely yes. This September, yes, thank you. So the Fabric Community Conference, FabCon Europe, will be coming to Stockholm. So please register for it. Registrations are available today. And the last thing I want to leave you with is that we have tons and tons of content on Azure Data and Fabric here at the Build Conference. Please check out these sessions. I will be joining Scott Guthrie at the Cloud and AI keynote first thing tomorrow morning. So hope to see everybody there. Thank you so much. Have a fantastic Build.